straight wins. And we want 4 more wins, 4 more wins, 4 more wins, and more
how
than
many
that.
more games are there?
Well, just
8?
on this
Hang on.
win streak,
There's
they're
8.
allowed to lose
No,
1
7.
if they win 4 more. They're allowed to
No,
lose 1.
9 plus 8 is 17.
Yeah, but did you carry the 1?
9 plus, yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
You can't carry the 1 when you're dealing with, it'd be like.
Is that not how you learned it?
No, but when you've got 2 single digits, though.
Oh,
Now
no,
you carry
because
the
in
1.
Britain, you minus 1 from the 9, and then you
Christ.
carry that 1 in.
Okay. These aren't
And then
very.
you
No,
get
I've
the
learned
one-
that too.
And then you get the 1 and the 7.
These aren't very good maths, Maddie. No,
How
not
about
very
the
good at
math?
the maths. The maths.
But the math.
The maths. The math.
The math.
All right, gang.
We're live,
20
Maddie.
people.
Can you get it together, man? Can we just get straight to the content? We need to get right to the content.
Okay, everyone.
Oh shit, we are live. I didn't know we had clicked the video button.
That's good. That's very good. Right. Everyone tell a friend that we're live, and then we'll get this show on the road.
Tell someone you hate that we're live as well.
Yeah, your arch nemesis. Everyone has one.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. Maddie's is the letter Z or Z. Griff, what is your, or who or what is your arch nemesis?
False dilemmas.
Oh,
Would be mine.
Of course. Or the volcano.
Well, we're on interesting terms at the moment.
True.
It is inherently antagonistic, though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're nemesis, though.
It's not going to boil over.
Well, eventually, it'll like just our relationship will kind of erupt and
It does feel explosive.
Other famous arch nemesis, Russell Wilson and sleep. Geno Smith and not getting sleep because he said today that he is going to get some sleep. So good to know that we have a well-rested quarterback.
Geno throwing shots at his former.
It wasn't like that. He was just saying that guys get to the weight room early.
Oh, did I say that in bad faith? Okay.
Right,
also another famous arch nemesis, the Seahawks and not scoring points. They're pretty good at actually doing that.
Very good. Right. Okay. Let's start the structure. Welcome to Seattle Overload, where the Seattle Seahawks have beat the Arizona Cardinals. They've won 4 straight games. The Seahawks won 31-21 down in the desert. They've moved to 6-3 in the season. Yeah, they're first place in the NFC West. They're creeping up the NFC overall rankings also. And Griff, that was pretty good. Again, it felt like a bigger scoreline than that 10-pointer.
Yeah. I think that was because of the pick 6, right? Otherwise, the defense gave up 1 touchdown on the opening drive and then a touchdown on the end or second to last drive.
The asterisk drive.
And like that was it. They controlled the game. The individuals had like great games, and then they played good team ball too. I think the only problem they had defensively was, Kobe Bryant just kind of getting worked a little bit by Rondale Moore, maybe missed some tackles. There was some maybe team tackling issues a little bit, but they were still swarming. So like nothing got away from them too much. And like offensively, they had some down moments, and they were still able to come back and be the better unit on the field for the full course of the game, which is really big considering that I think we'd say the Cardinals overall won the day in the first game. Their defense against Seattle's offense, I think that was they flipped the script a little bit this game. So, and how they did that, it will also be really interesting to talk about because it means that there was a lot of improvement in a lot of areas, especially up front in that game. So, really, really exciting stuff. They're a good team. They are a good team. They've been tested. The bounds of their staying power has been tested, and they bounce back. And what we're seeing is real. And like we can define the floor and ceiling, but it's real. Ty, what are your thoughts? What are your impressions?
So first of all, I would like to mention that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be featured on the in-season version of Hard Knocks beginning this week on Wednesday.
Wow.
So might want to tune in for that one. Secondly, I'm with you, Griff. This is a really good team. This is a really good football team. And we just saw it again. And we just saw the chasmic difference between who the Cardinals are right now and who the Seahawks are right now. And I thought that emphasized just how good the Seahawks are in general today. And this was another game where, offense puts up 31 points, and it seems like they left quite a few points on the board still. That this should have been an even, bigger. This should have been an even bigger margin of victory for them. So, you think about the play where Lockett slid about a yard before the sticks. You think about the play that where Noah Fant dropped the ball on the last drive before the half. That could have put them near field goal range. Like, there were definitely opportunities there where they could put some more points on the board. And you get down to the pick six, and it's like really the Cardinals weren't able to do anything outside of that, and that really just skews the score overall. The tackling, was a little bit of an issue again, just team wise. But some of the times where it happened or where it was most prevalent, they actually didn't get beat too bad on, like the double forward pass play where they missed a couple of tackles there on the sideline against James Conner, and then that ends up getting called back. So, in the end, I thought they played a really good game overall. Still some things to clean up, and like I said, some points that they potentially left on the board. But overall, this team is in a really good spot. They're rolling right now, and just watching that Bucks Rams game right after, and I was like switching in between here and there. This is a team that should easily beat that Bucks team, and I think they're going to give Tom Brady and company some issues. Maddie, how did you feel?
I mean, this is boring. I should disagree with both of you to make it more interesting podcasting. But no, obviously I agree. The tackling was up and down. I think it's worth saying that this Arizona offense right now, in its current guise, is pretty much the only thing they have is getting an isolated matchup one-on-one in underneath space. And then occasionally that makes them miss. And then obviously Kyler Murray's ability in space when the play breaks down to take off with his legs. But I mean, that's not sustainable, as they're showing. It's not sustainable. Yeah, the tackling was an issue, but this is probably the most stressful game they'll have tackling wise. And again, they can clean it up a bit. Now, that pick six, the response from that is a defining moment in the season, because I don't necessarily agree that Gino's had bad moments before this, but that was it wasn't really on Gino. It was just a good play where he sees 5-man rush and he doesn't expect the guy to peel off like that, and it's just great awareness from a guy who's actually a middle linebacker, or well, he's kind of positionless, but he's technically their middle linebacker. They put him down on the edge in like a bare front call. Mm-hmm. And he peels off, he makes a pick, he makes a play. They get paid to make plays too. And you're like, oh, that's tough, because now the Cardinals are ahead by 3. How are Seattle going to cope with this? The crowd got back into it. They started getting really loud. It was a slightly moment where you're like, this stadium is cursed. Like, this stadium is hell for the Seahawks. Why on earth does that happen?
Oh, so speaking of that real quick, sorry, don't mean to interrupt, but one other great thing, no career altering injuries suffered.
Yeah, that's great. It didn't find a way to end the Seahawks new kind of team feel before it begun.
and trust me, while I don't want to like bring that bad energy. I couldn't help but think about that and worry about that a little bit going into this game, because I mean it just happens every single time they go down there, it feels.
Yeah,
Yep. And
it's a
so
graveyard.
after that point, after the pick six, they drive down the field over 7 minutes long, bully the heck out of Arizona. Geno Smith runs with his legs a bit. He checks into a great beater of cover zero to hit DK Metcalf. He hands the ball off to Walker. Walker really starts running through guys and finding bigger creases, and they just bully the heck out of them. Then the next two drives after, they score touchdowns on them as well. And so the offense suddenly starts capitalizing on the scoring potential that it. I mean, I don't think necessarily this game it always had it. Like, I did start to worry that, again, this would be a case of Vance Joseph's defense outsmarting the Seahawks and causing them problems. And it did seem they were quite tentative to start, and a lot of the looks they wanted weren't there. But they just bullied the heck out of them as the game wound down.
Yeah.
It didn't help Arizona's unit that obviously their offense was so impotent. Arizona's offense overall had just 262 total yards. Now, a lot of that comes in the when the Seahawks defense really just starts sitting off, letting them play underneath. It basically comes on the last two drives. They went 6 for 14 on third down, Arizona, and again, that comes on the last two drives. Like they had nothing other than Kyler Murray's legs, and
Right.
so the time of possession ends up Seattle 34-31, Arizona 25-29. Again, how nice is it that Seattle is on the good end of that spectrum? But I really do think, to repeat, Seattle bullied the heck out of them and they won the time of possession. And Pete Carroll, he goes after the game. I said the Seahawks run to win. Pete Carroll goes, when I talk about running the football, I ain't talking about running the football in the first quarter or the second quarter. That's not really what it is. It's so that you have it to win football games. That's where you can really play championship football. You can complete the opportunity. And that was what you saw today. I'm so fired up about that. Because it was obvious.
The mask falls off a little
there
bit.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. And he said he thought that the finish of that game was his favorite one of the season because they were so complete in all three of those drives. They were mixing everything. They were balanced and they were running the heck out of the ball in an efficient manner. And I think Shanahan said similar about you just need to be able to have the run when you need to be able to do it. And Griff, you and I think Ty as well, but we've all said similar stuff. Like you don't have to. It's not about that. It's more about how do you go and win a game with very little risk. Well, run the ball. Yeah. So Griff, how good was Kenneth Walker?
He's got this weird thing where he turns on the Jets when there's an opportunity to put a game away or to change a game. Like early in the games, it's like he's feeling it out. It seemed like it was, again, he was leaving some yards on the field, like, turning, like sacrificing 4-yarders when they could, when they end up turning into a 1 or 2 yarder. But by the time, when the game started to get close again toward the end, I mean, he ran like a man possessed. Really in the second half, he came out. He looked way more purposeful, more anticipatory with his movements and stuff. And then his stats skyrocketed. So, I mean, he does something amazing almost every game. And he can still get so much better. So that was pretty neat. And he was called on, like, we're trying to put the game away. We need you to deliver. And he did. It was like, he was embracing it, not just because he's trying to run well, but embracing the context of the game and trying to put the game away, and he did. I mean, literally. So that was pretty cool. And to Pete's point, they were at one point, I was checking it, they were like, they had like something like 20 early down passes to like 14 early down runs, and then by the end of the game, they were almost 50-50. So yeah, it was that's what Pete said. Like they put the game away, and the score was still fairly close, even though the game didn't feel that way toward the end. But anyway, yeah, it was.
Yeah, because there was like a patchy period where they had that weird drive which the Cardinals ended up scoring on, where Tariq Woolen has a bit of a tough moment against a stylistically different player in Zach Ertz. He gets a wide outside release, which you kick outside with, thinking it's a corner route or an out route, especially at the goal line. And Ertz breaks back across his face. So Woolen didn't get a jam on. He didn't expect that. It's a fake route, and it's a touchdown. And at that point, there's like 3 minutes 30 left. So you're like, they probably didn't quite draw it up like that. Can they go and run to win? And they do. And Walker's final stat line, 26 carries for 109 yards, 4.2 average, a long of 15, which again, he didn't quite get the explosive one in there. And then 2 rushing touchdowns though. But like, it feels every time there's an explosive one. And it's almost like his sort of dancing and creativity sets up opportunities later. He's sort of feeling out what he can get away with, what he can't. He's probing all areas. Maybe that's giving him too much credit. Maybe it is just he's a inexperienced rookie who's still learning stuff. I think probably it's a bit of both. Now, Ty, Kobe Bryant kind of robbed of 2 takeaways.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The first illegal contact was Kyler Murray out of the pocket.
No, I think he was still in the pocket.
Yeah, because I thought that was tough on Condé Diggs because like he's coming down to jump the route.
Yeah, I only saw the replay
like
once.
He's about to break.
I only saw the replay once. It kind of looked like Rondell ran into Quandre, right?
Right. Condé's rotating down in his quarter, and the guy who can't see him runs into him. He's entitled to his space. That's and so Bryant had the pick, and that got turned over. And then tied the punch. The punch.
Yeah. Okay. So like, if that's not a fumble, why was DK's fumble in New Orleans?
Oh no, we don't talk about that. That
seriously
was nonsense.
Seriously, like
yeah, but that was nonsense. That play, that whole game was nonsense.
Yeah.
Again, but again, that was like a like just. Allow me to cope here. That was like that was another like split second like football move. Like it was just another like he kind of did it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I felt like this was more egregious though. Like he literally pulls the ball into his body and starts turning.
And they ruled it a fumble on the field. How is that incontrovertible? However you pronounce that word. Proof.
Oh, you got it.
I nailed it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
but I really 3-syllabled that. No, 4-syllabled it.
Incontrovertible.
Is that 5?
6.
6. Wow, 6 syllables.
Incontrovertible. 6.
Yeah. Damn.
Wow, Maddie.
How was that clear proof, guys?
It wasn't. It wasn't.
And then you I don't want to get all conspiracy theory, but there was only 2 late games.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, that's crazy,
who's gonna
right?
be watching? Who's gonna be watching?
So like when the game went to halftime, I went on Red Zone. I was like, oh yeah, there's probably like 3 or 4 games on. And it was like, nope, both games are at halftime. And I'm like, both games? What are you talking about? Both games? Only 2. Who scheduled that?
Yeah.
What are we thinking here? Yeah. So that should have been a catch and a fumble if other unnamed catch and fumbles are catch and fumbles. So, yeah. Real quick, talking about how they finished this game. Just going back to that, this game kind of towards the end kind of reminded me of that Sunday night game that they played in Arizona 2 years ago during the COVID year, where Seahawks were up 34-24 with like 2 minutes left. Cardinals scored, made it 34-31, and then the Seahawks were unable to run the clock out.
Yeah,
and then
that was a horrid game.
Yeah, Cardinals tied up. They end up winning in overtime.
Oh my word! Yeah, I had to erase that from my memory.
And so this literally, this was kind of a very similar situation where it was on the Seahawks offense to finish this game off, and this time around, they actually do it, and they do it with the run game. Well, first off, like let's talk about Noah Fant, who had a really nice game.
Yeah,
and he has that huge catch and run down the side. The bootlegs for the Seahawks were open all day long.
I don't know why the league can't defend the boot slide anymore. I don't know what happened this year, because like Seattle ran that play last year and it was useful, but not to this level.
And they ran it like 5 or 6 times today, and hit all of them, or at least like 5 of them. Like
they're like 3 different guys too.
Too much linebacker conflict, missing an underneath player. in certain coverages. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the 12 and 13 personnel. The edge is so committed to defending the run.
Well, the Cardinals had real issues against the Rams when they put Skoranek in the backfield. They were like asking their linebacker to fit an A gap and then cover Skoranek to like the sail route out the backfield. So they've got some issues with that, and Seattle in their own way found that kind of matchup. So
yeah. Wait, Ty, were you gonna say something else though? I kind of cut you off.
No. That's it. I'm good.
And again, we got an ending where Seattle they almost stat pad, right? Like they tee off. Nwosu finishes with 2 sacks. One of his sacks came earlier, but
Nwosu had an insane game, and not just from those sacks. He had crazy rushes too.
He did, and his edge setting was unbelievable.
That play where he was out in the flat and he came up to force Kyler to throw that ball. Gotta forget what play it was. I think it was like a 3rd down or something.
He dropped and he pressured him out. And that play where they tried to hit them on the quarterback like guard tackle wrap play, and Nwosu literally dipped. I mean, I don't know what the puller's doing. Like the first puller, the effort was poor, but Nwosu managed to dip around it and make like arm tackle Murray to the ground. Like that's like a big play saving tackle because they didn't have the defense called in for that kind of play. That's the sort of thing where, if you're Kingsbury, you call that feeling good about it, and then you're like, damn, how did that happen? That should not have happened. We should have had the points, the yardage there. Yeah. So yeah, Nwosu's playing out of his skin and continues to, right? Like this could have been his best game.
And he's had crazy games, and he was, good for the Chargers last year, especially good the last 2 months of the season last year. And he's outplaying that even. He's absolutely playing the best football he's ever played in his life. It's crazy. Like he's winning with pure speed rips. He's winning with like in and out moves where it's like a cross chop. He's winning with speed to power. He's winning, speed to power with an inside move. And then of course he's crazy on these as the looper on these stunts that they're running.
Right.
I don't know like what has gotten into him, but like everything is just clicking for him. And then on the other side, Bruce Irvin, he's got like this really consistent, slow and steady bull rush that he's got going for him. So he's just pushing the tackle to the quarterback's depth. It's nothing crazy explosive, but snap after snap, he was just pushing Humphrey into the pocket. Yeah. And he's impacting, especially a guy like Kyler Murray, who's going to be hypersensitive to any sort of pocket dysfunction compared to, maybe taller quarterbacks. So, they were just affecting plays. Also, Poona Ford, he's been doing this the past couple of weeks, but he's been getting into the backfield with clean wins. Quentin Jefferson, and then we know Shelby Harris is doing it too. So, like every single guy is a contributor right now in the middle. Every single one. It's pretty wild.
I want to see how Josh Onojogu did because he was actually on the field a little bit during this game with DT out. So,
good for him.
I think he made a couple tackles.
He did because, like in the preseason, he stood out a bit as like just a hardworking, active guy who could contribute, like on the in the late pass rush rotation, and that's what he did today with, like you said, Ty Taylor out. They seemed to drop him a bit to sort of when they did drop 8, so they just rushed 3 guys to force the check down and to kind of cut the field in half with their rush, and then have a spare guy kind of like Josh to go and get Murray, and I think he did a pretty good job doing that. So good for him. Cool to see someone get an opportunity like that. And yeah, the Seahawks had 5 sacks today. And Diggs, after the game, he said a really interesting comment, which kind of backs up the coaching staff's comments earlier in the week about the Seahawks changing their techniques up front, which we noticed in the first Arizona game. Diggs said about how they're not worrying about 2-gapping anymore and they can just be aggressive. And he thinks it's turned them up another notch. And he says that's what the defensive line asked for. And that's also what he recommended. And they knew they had to take the next step. And they knew it was going to be on them when they asked for that. And if it didn't work, there was going to be no more excuses. And it is working. The adjustments, the more kind of one gapping technique up front in the bare fronts, even if we're allowing guys to play downhill and more aggressive and power step into guys, knock the heck out of the guy in front of them, whether they're running like two high middle field open coverage or one high middle field closed, that's been huge, and it's still working and it's versatile. Now, it'll be interesting to see how it works against like a Tom Brady, which, I mean, hey, we get to see that next Sunday, guys, but it's working, it worked against the Giants, who are like a very kind of, well, not very different, but they're slightly different to what the Cardinals do, right? So,
right.
Super exciting. As we've said already, we don't think there's a reason to feel this is going to regress too much.
Yeah. I think they might have like a hiccup here and there, but overall, like I think everything we're seeing is sustainable.
What's cool is that this game felt like it might have been that hiccup game at first, right?
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah,
that first drive was shaky,
and they got their act together.
Mm-hmm.
So over the last 4 games, their opponent success rate is the lowest in the league, and their EPA per play is I think second or third. But so like it's not just this onslaught, this deluge of turnovers that's driving like that is responsible for a big chunk of their efficiency. It's the success rate is low too, meaning the rate of plays that generates positive EPA is extremely low. So they're doing everything. They're taking care of business, playing sound coverage, sound run fits, but then they're also getting negative plays on top of it. They're getting the sacks, the tackles for loss. They're getting fumbles and interceptions on top of it. That's what they were missing last year. And it's just kind of crazy to watch.
Well, the biggest thing too is like they're winning up front consistently, and then you got guys that are just straight up wrecking games now, like Nwosu, like Brian Monet, like dudes that are just wrecking shop consistently. So, that's kind of the difference, right? Like
and then Ty, the coverage, like how much did they have downfield? Well, Kyler was checking everything down or trying to scramble. Like, I mean, we'll watch the tape because obviously we can't see the back end until we get the tape. But Kyler's no moron. Like
he might have been missing stuff, but he wasn't scrambling early.
No, exactly.
He was scrambling kind of late or late-ish. The one where Nwosu's sack on the stunt, where he's coming from the left side, pre-snap. I don't know what the call was, but Cody Barton was, I think he was either 2-man or he was playing a vertical hook in cover 2 zone, and he was carrying DeAndre Hopkins as the number 2 receiver, and Kyler looks that way because why wouldn't he? That's DeAndre Hopkins and a linebacker. And he double clutches and then he's sacked right away. The sack did come quickly, but I suspect that was partially encouraged by him not letting, a fade ball, that he has the arm talent to put as much air on it as he wants to, because he has the strength to get whatever distance he wants. So he knows if he wants to get rid of the ball early, he can. But the reason why he didn't, I suspect, was probably because the coverage downfield was pretty good. I'm really excited to see what the game plan was like for handling all that talent. Granted, Hopkins just got back. Robbie Anderson's just getting into the swing of things, but those 2 dudes are still really talented, obviously. And then you still have Zach Ertz. So I'm curious to see how they manage those as receiver threats. But like the fact that they can get a 4-man rush out of Bear, and they don't have to send a lot of pressure, and their 4-man rush when they go into even fronts is also heating up. It's just, they can get it any way they want it right now.
By the way, after the Hopkins touchdown, Hopkins had 2 catches for 8 yards.
Yeah.
And that's what this coverage system does, really. Along with obviously Woolen's playing out of his mind.
So it bears wondering what happened if they just tackled a little bit better today. The Cardinals, they might have fired Cliff Kingsbury out on the field.
Well, that might be coming. Now, this Hard Knocks thing sounds funny. So the Cardinals are 3-6, and Cliff Kingsbury's contract, of course, runs until 2027, and Steve Kine's contract runs until 2027, and Kyler Murray is extended until 2028. So you're here forever. That's it. What's their owner? Michael Bidwell. He's gonna have to might have to get out the checkbook. I have a feeling. How nice is it? We cover a team, guys, who in the NFC you have the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles 8-0. You then have the Cowboys 6-2, the Giants 6-2, the Vikings
are
7-1.
Yeah.
And then the Seattle Seahawks are 6-3, top of the NFC West, and what's that? Fifth place in the NFC, and
Third
they're up. Yeah, they're up third seed exactly, and their upcoming schedule is the Buccaneers in Germany, which I'm going to, and then 2-6 Raiders, 3-5 Rams at the 3-5 Rams, and then hosting the 2-7 Panthers, and then hosting the 4-4 49ers with 3 of their last 5 at home.
By the way, assuming that Ken Walker is healthy and this offensive line is healthy going into that Panthers game, the Seahawks might rush for like 500 yards.
Hey, Travis Homer and DJ Dallas look kind of shifty when they got a few carries today.
Yeah. Oh, we saw the return of the Wildcat.
It worked. Dallas didn't throw a pick.
He didn't throw a pick. He gained like what, 5 yards,
7?
6 yards?
No, yeah, I think we overinflate it for effect.
Okay, I still want to see with Eskridge back there though.
Yeah, there we go. Galaxy brand. That's exactly what I want to see.
Yeah.
Former running back, like let's go. I think I wrote an article that was like, hey, they should use D. Eskridge out of the backfield a little bit. Like he's 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 tiny, so he shouldn't do it a lot, but like
that's a punch though.
Do it a little bit though. Do it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the last time they tried it didn't go very well with the fumble, I think the Chargers game. But I liked the intent.
Maybe don't toss it to him. Maybe just like hand it to him directly. Put it right in the bread basket. Yeah.
It's worth.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to change the subject. So
please note.
Well, by the way, real quick, the Titans are actually running on the Chiefs.
Well,
right now.
That's what I was going to go with. Like the Kansas City Chiefs might be 5-3. Like,
yeah, the Seahawks have the same amount of wins as the Bills right now. The Super Bowl favorite Bills.
Yeah. So in the NFC, where do they rank?
We just did that, Griff.
But did you rank them though? We didn't.
Oh, you mean like just like power rankings? Power rankings.
Yeah. So
my apologies.
Eagles. I mean, I was going off what we're talking about here. Eagles are the number 1 team in the NFC. Mm-hmm. Then after that, is it wide open? Is number 2 theirs for the taking?
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins, and believe me, I've watched. I've watched. They can't middle field open. They can't do it. So they can't
throw against it, or they can't cover in it.
They can't throw against it.
Oh,
and the coverage is questionable. Now the Cowboys, I mean, they could get hot. Now Prescott, being back, the defense looks for real. The Giants, the Seahawks beat. So you can definitely say third, second.
I think they're at least third.
The big thing for me is if they can beat the Rams, because I know they're 3-5, but
they're still the Rams.
McVay always, well, not always. There was that 1 year, but he tends to stay schematically ahead of Pete in really annoying, frustrating ways.
Well, see, but Maddie,
the last match. I don't know if you know this, but the Seahawks have a different quarterback at the helm this year. I don't know if you've heard.
Yes, but I was talking about the defense.
Let's remember last year in the second matchup they held them to 20 points. That was a Super Bowl winning best offense in the league, or top 3 offense in the league.
And the offense was the issue.
No Andrew Whitworth.
No Andrew Whitworth. Yeah. So I mean, they're way worse than that now. But they're still like the same team.
You're excellent friend. You're helping me feel a lot better about this.
Yeah.
I'm still nervous.
They should. I'm still nervous too because the divisional game and like the Cardinals games were kind of wonky.
The 49ers game is probably going to be tough as well. You know.
Yeah.
Let's see if they bring back Odell. If they bring back Odell, maybe. But like Stafford is kind of looking washed right now. That offensive line literally can't do anything. They can't run the football right now at all.
I mean,
I feel good about it.
The D line
honestly.
should dominate their offensive line
Yeah.
at
Like,
minimum.
Odell
Havenstein's
should
still,
note
like,
that the Seahawks don't have number 13 on their roster. That's what I think.
yeah.
See,
Also, like,
They have
if
Josh
Odell
Jones.
if Odell, hold on. Josh Jones had a good game
Oops.
today too, by the way, Maddie. So
I've been a big Josh Jones supporter. Griff tried to bury him. It was really messed up.
Early on,
you kind of
quickly
just
U-turned.
disrespected the man. So
I quickly
no.
U-turned.
you turn. All right, I'll allow it as the co-founder of U-Turn Gang. What's up, U-turners in the chat? Let's get some U-turns and going in the chat. I just made Maddie crack for some reason. The U,
throw up the U, guys.
the U, baby.
The U is back.
So I completely forget what I was gonna say. The Rams. Oh yeah. If Odell wants a really good chance to win a Super Bowl, he should sign with the Seahawks, and that's an unironic statement.
Right. And so clearly he's biding his time and waiting. He's just chilling right now, and he's waiting to join whatever team he wants.
He's like some others right now that are just like, toe in the water, like, is the Seahawks team for real? Are they not? They did trade their star quarterback, I don't know, their defense wasn't very good, through the first 5 weeks of the season, but since week 5, since week 5, this has been one of the best teams in football, and I think Odell Beckham Jr. would fit in really well with what this team is doing right now.
Look, I see you in the chat, Travis HB. No, it's not a thing. It's never been a thing.
Use up, baby. Use up.
We need to sell merch. People in the chat, what do you give us some questions? We're live.
Yeah,
we got a nice amount of viewers. Give us some Seahawky questions.
Give us some Seahawky questions or non-Seahawky questions. While you're doing that, Maddie, you are going to be going to Germany this week. When are you leaving? You're leaving what, Wednesday, right? You're heading to Germany.
I fly to Deutschland on Wednesday. As you can tell, I've been brushing up on my GCSE German. Do you guys know what a GCSE is?
No.
There you go.
No.
There you go.
So how is your German, Matthew? How would you say your German is?
It's questionable, but what's important is I will make an effort. What's also important is Germans do tend to have excellent English.
Right. I was going to say, would they be offended if some
Englishman
was trying to speak German to them?
No. Oh, no.
You know what would be really funny?
Because the French hate it when Americans go over there, and they took 2 years of French.
I don't think that's why the French.
To me in English.
I don't think that's why the French hate Americans.
It's one of many reasons.
Right? Yeah.
It's pretty high on the list. You know what would be really funny and epic if you asked a question to Pete Carroll in German? Haha.
I think that might happen from someone else.
Yeah, he'll get one. He'll get one.
Yeah,
maybe.
Like, have you tried the pretzels here?
Yeah,
I've been planning all the German food I'm going to eat.
Have you ever had beer, Pete? Have you ever tried beer?
I'll be like, no. He's vegan, right?
I think he's a teetotaler. I don't know if he drinks.
Yeah, I mean, that would explain the skin and just the very good.
He has amazing skin.
The amazing hair.
Beautiful man, actually.
Yeah.
Good looking guy, strong jaw, charming.
Yeah,
all that. We do have some questions.
Oh, phew.
Do we think do we think the quarterback of the future is already in the building? To think Pete can't get the best out of Drew a couple years under Gino, he could learn a lot. Thoughts? That is from HB. Thank you, HB, for the question.
Thank you, HB.
Thanks, HB.
Thanks, Hawk Blogger.
No. Rival promotion.
Promotion.
Pete is actually
I think it is HB, like the pencil. Like I don't know what it means, but on a pencil it says
Oh,
HB.
that's like that second-rate brand. No offense,
Mm.
HB, to Ticonderoga though. Ticonderoga is the best pencil, the best
There
number
we
2
go.
pencil. Ty, I'm sensing
Not an ad.
some
No, no,
partisanship there.
no. I'm surprised that we had that kind of drop here on today's show.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
I'm proud of you. I'm
that's
proud of
messed
you.
up.
Ticonderoga, which it makes you
This
kind
is
of,
not paid.
it kind
This
of
is
reminds you of the
not sponsored.
Unless
Yeah.
Griff's gone off without us.
Nope, I'm suppressing it. I was going to make a historical reference, but I'm not going to.
Don't do it. They're
Wow.
not. They don't like that.
So
Griff.
the Battle of
You nerd.
Fort Ticonderoga, featuring Ethan Allen, during the Revolutionary War, American Revolutionary War. Maddie, I'm sorry if that.
That's okay.
Strikes
Look,
a
we're
chord.
all mates.
You guys don't care about that one though. Like that's a big deal to us, but you guys don't care.
Mm.
Well, I think not to get too deep into the weeds, but an empire ending ain't the worst thing, is it?
Right. No,
Yeah.
and through that lens, it's not like it benefited the world exactly. Anyway, let's answer the question. I mean, that is the question, right? Like we're all kind of if the assumption is Gino keeps this up, then you would think, okay, we'll extend him, right? But then there's kind of a fear of like, well, what if they get too cute and don't extend him? They think they can repeat this with somebody else.
That would be insane.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
But the way that they're scheming, they're not scheming as though they think Gino's replaceable. They're scheming as though we love who Gino is and we're going to build around all of that to the biggest extent. They're not hiding him like McVay and Waldron and co hid Goff. They're scheming through him and around him.
Yes.
So that would indicate that they value him financially as well.
It would be nice to hear Waldron asked about like Goff to Gino.
Right.
Also, too, I mean, just from a pure roster construction standpoint, I think whatever you get Gino for is still going to be a relative bargain.
Yeah. And you can do probably one of those fake contracts where year 3 has an out or something, year 4 is an out.
Yeah.
Make everyone happy. Because, like, you don't listen, the way the quarterback draft is going right now, I mean, this quarterback class, they're not having the greatest college year. There are some concerns cropping up even with the top guys. And just think about from a team building perspective. If you have your quarterback right now, sure, cough up the cap space, do what you have to do there, but then just use all of those draft picks on position players. And then having 4 or 2, however many guys turn out to hit, having those blue chip players on rookie contracts kind of replaces the concept of the value of a rookie contract at quarterback, right? That probably adds up to a similar cap hit if you think about them when they hit free agency. So 4-year window of paying Gino and 4 years of additional blue chip players coming in to fortify what they already have on the roster. It's pretty exciting. You can go a lot of different directions. So I think if the Gino keeps this up, you absolutely have to pay him.
Yes. What is interesting about Locke is his issues, and I haven't been a maniac and watched Gino obsessively when he was at the Jets, right?
Yeah, who would do that?
But Locke's, who would imagine? But Locke,
if anyone can find out who might do that, let us know. So we can shame them and admonish.
It's not snitching. It's just
especially people that would watch like Jets preseason games from like 2013.
Right.
Yeah,
who would do that?
Yeah.
That's so. I can imagine.
That's like sicko. That's sicko behavior.
Imagine going onto YouTube and typing in Jets Raiders 2013 full.
Yeah.
On
imagine searching for West Virginia All 22 from 2011.
And imagine doing that like last May.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, to get to my point,
like on a Saturday afternoon.
Sicko behavior.
And then emailing somebody, hey, do you have that other game as well?
Do you doing that the following Sunday morning, 2015?
Yeah. So imagine doing that.
Yeah. Anyway, but having not done that, because I couldn't imagine doing that. Locke's issues are, sometimes he pushes it too much down the field. There's weird moments of inaccuracy. What really lost him the job, in my opinion, in the preseason, other than the coronavirus, was he missed the hot check, he missed the protection check.
He's just
and
not
and he
polished.
fumbled.
Anywhere
He's just
near
not polished. Now I think probably Gino was more polished, but who's to say Locke with support and learning under Gino, like Gino learned
Right.
under Eli Manning, who'd say that can't happen? The issue is the time frame. Like Gino's 32, but he doesn't have the miles on the clock that a normal 32-year-old quarterback would have. And quarterbacks are playing later and later into their careers with seemingly less effects. Okay, Brady's an unrealistic example, but you look at like Aaron Rodgers, his arm hasn't gone. Matt Ryan played for a while, his arm's gone now, but it was up there. Russell Wilson's arm looks fine now; his shoulder's back-ish. So my point is, Gino could play for 5 or so years, and then what does Locke do then? Like, surely he has to leave at some point. I think. Pete spoke about putting the arm around the shoulder of him and saying, well, why can't it happen? So he's obviously feeling optimistic about it. But I think you pay Gino. I think it'll be interesting to see the length and the terms and for him, it almost suits him to sit this out all the way and then get on the open market, get the bidding war started.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that because of the lack of track record, and we'll see how the rest of the year goes, that he probably ends up getting a lower dollar amount, but maybe something like a 2-year deal with an opt-out after the second year, where it's like if you're really good and you're working your way towards like a $40 million a year contract, then we'll allow you the opportunity to opt out and
that's interesting.
And look, and get back out onto the market.
That sounds very baseball-like, Ty.
It is.
So
mutual opt out after the third year. Yeah.
So from what we've seen from Gino, my point would be, I think probably what Seattle's hoping, like best case scenario for everyone, is that Seattle's able to trade Locke to another team who needs a quarterback, and if he flashes in the preseason, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would just keep Locke as the backup for right now.
Yes, no, I'm not saying now. Say like 2 years, 1 year down the line, another preseason.
Well, do with him what you did with Gino. Just keep bringing him back as a backup because he is talented. No one disputes that.
Mm-hmm.
And then more time with the systems, etc. Right? And he knows the receivers and vice versa. So, on that note, there's no reason to not keep him around. So, I don't know. In a perfect world, let Drew be your backup. And if for whatever something freaky happens where you extend Gino and he can't play for whatever reason, knock on wood, then, throw the guy out there that, has the arm talent to maybe, on a good day, keep you in a game, because he's had good games before in his short career.
And also
he knows the system. So,
and also keeping Drew doesn't prevent you from drafting a guy and developing that guy and carrying that guy. You can carry 3 quarterbacks just fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. What else do we have? So there was a question about Gino's what Gino's contract would look like.
I think you answered that, Ty.
Yeah. So I think that's probably, he probably gets somewhere in like the $25-ish million range, I would think, right now. And then maybe gets like an opt-out after year 2 or year 3, where you can go test the market again if he's like the guy, like if he's still like a top 7-ish quarterback.
Yeah.
Pete is vegan. Oh my god, I didn't know I could love him more, says Travis Huff. Is he actually vegan?
Yeah,
pretty sure. At least he was. I think he still is.
Per source. Yeah, is that what your source is? Yeah. At what point, this comes from Antonio S., at what point is D. Eskridge considered a bust?
My take would be, so his rookie year was kind of a write-off, right? Like he had that serious concussion. So if you exercise the kind of Darryl Taylor, it's his second year, but he's a rookie kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
Like here's the Cope beginning. So 2021 was his rookie year. 2022 is his 2022 is his rookie year. Then 2023 is his sophomore year. So then generally by the third season in a league, if a guy's not showing stuff, then that's when you kind of write them off. So if in 2024 he doesn't start really doing stuff, then you'd sort of worry about it.
Yeah,
he is also 25 now,
that's
so
the main thing.
that's the problem with the drafting the olds. He's born the same year as me. He is around 20 days older than me.
Wow.
I can't.
Yeah,
do math.
and Pete
Maths.
does like
we
to
already established
emphasize,
that at the top of the show.
and Pete does use the Golden Tate comparison, who didn't really become a actual receiver till his third year. So I don't know. Let's see. Combined with his age, let's let next year be the one where we really kind of evaluate the entire Eskridge project. I don't see, like, on a case by case basis, I don't see anything particularly concerning as a receiver. You just don't see any like plays either, though. So which I guess that's concerning. So I don't know.
There's been a few times you could have thrown him the ball and it didn't go his way, for whatever
Right.
reason. So there
Right.
you go.
Yeah. All right. Jason's got our last question of the night. Is it just me, or has Jordan Brooks completely improved in coverage? Maddie, you're smiling. You're smiling. You're smart.
No, not the evil laugh tonight.
Mm,
Well, actually, I felt he's been a bit up and down. But the first touchdown, I think, was a weird one. Like, mesh wheel is a tough beater for the coverage they're running, which was basically cover 3, but the other hook is in a bonus hook, so it's Boye Mafe. Obviously, Mafe ended up getting matched up on Hopkins. That's because Brooks tried to push out of the wheel, and they've been mixing up like who is playing the wheel and who isn't. If it's the curl flat player or if it's the hook player, and there's 2 different ways to do it. But Brooks got out there, then he bashed into a tight end, and then he man turned with it, which meant he didn't see the mesh combination coming from the other side, where he could have just passed off that route. And then it's like, trust your deep coverage as well. And then he didn't peel off in time. But what he's always been great at, and he also got beat, although it was zone coverage, but there was a catch to his outside where a big thing, which has always been a thing with him really, is if he pulls the trigger and trusts what he's really seeing and sort of turns it from zone into playing kind of man-to-man on the guy into his area and transitions his eyes to that guy rather than visioning the quarterback, then he'll be able to get the pass break up. But because he doesn't do that, he just sort of looks at the quarterback and then breaks to the ball on the ball. That does see some catches allowed in his vicinity. However, I like Griffin, who's probably going to be a bit more robust. I was very big on his coverage coming out, and because he's that rare kind of linebacker who can turn and run with the receiver downfield, as we saw on it wasn't game icing, but it was basically game ending 4th down in completion today, where he's carrying a seam.
Mm-hmm.
But he's unbelievable when he's visioning a receiver, like, because he can turn and run. So it's all about, really, for me, his sometimes his zone eyes, and then sometimes trusting what he's seeing to really make the final step, which would make him an elite coverage defender. But when you deal with the issue of has he completely improved in coverage, I don't think so. He's always been pretty damn good in coverage. I actually think this year's been somewhat of a down year for him, but I think most of that's new scheme and just a transition. Griff?
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, last year he kind of had some rough moments. The first half of the Titans game, the second half of the Rams game last year, the first Rams game. I don't know. I feel like he's had an equal amount of down moments so far in the season, but I think he's also had some really good games around that. And maybe a lot of those issues are just kind of, new language, new scheme. But I think all in all, he's giving them what they need the Mike linebacker to do. And like, collectively speaking, every single player in the underneath kind of has their little share of miscues, but when the negative plays are distributed fairly evenly. Like, it feels like each guy has 1 to 2, little like plays they wish they could give back, but in the grand scheme, fairly inconsequential, given how dominant they've been. So, and like they're not giving up anything deep, at least, or at least very little of it. So I don't know. I don't think. I mean, I don't think he's improved in that. I think he was already pretty good. Same with you. So, yeah, I mean, he came out flying out of the gate his rookie year doing crazy stuff in coverage. So, it's fairly consistent too, not just like, oh, he flashes promise, but he needs to be more consistent. No, he came out pretty consistent in my view. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's improved per se, but it's just a matter of, semantics, I guess. He is playing well right now though.
Yeah. And he's been alert to the dagger combination, which
Last week he was doing the stuff that people post clips of Fred Warner doing and giving him praise, as they should be. He was doing some of that stuff. So
yeah. Ty, what's your impression of him?
Yeah, he's flying all around the field, and he's always been great in coverage. I've thought. I don't think that he's necessarily improved. I think he's just kind of who he is. Right? I think this has always kind of just been who he is. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
There we go. Right. So that is the end of the podcast. Please do like it. Henry, I see your comment about getting notified when we go live. I'm still looking into that. And if
did we not have a bell? There's no bell on your page?
I do have a bell, but it doesn't seem to work for some people. If you haven't rung the bell, Henry, do that, but I'm sure you have. Yeah, I'll figure that out. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Please like the video if you're watching now, because it really does help us, and comment after we've gone off air, because again, helps us. We appreciate it. Lots of people here. Go Seahawks. If you are listening, please 5-star review. And everyone follow the podcast at Seattle Overload. That's another way to get notified when roughly we're going live, even though we do have a penchant for being late. Or is it penchant? Penchants?
I say
penchant.
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 Wait, were you saying penchant like with CE? Are you inventing a word?
I am inventing a word, and you're gonna deal with it, buddy, because it's the end of the podcast.
All words are made up.
Incontrovertibly.
Yes. Follow Ty at Dane Gunzlers. Follow me at Matty F. Brown. Follow Griffin at C Mike's Spin Move. Wednesday, we will be back live on YouTube. We are going to be doing it at an unusual time. Ty is about to do the conversion. It will be 10:30 German time, 9:30 UK time, which is irrelevant for you all. And Ty, it will be...
I believe that is at 1:30 Pacific time, 4:30 Eastern time. So...
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Kind of a midday experience. So maybe on your lunch break, if you're a naughty person. And then... and then we'll be back Thursday with the film review, and that will be at the normal time. I'm going to wake up and be a sleepy boy. And then we'll be live. I'll have been at the Allianz Arena watching the Buccaneers game, and Griff and Ty will be in their usual spots, and we'll be talking about that. Hopefully the Seahawks will have made it 5 wins in a row, but for now, 4 wins in a row, 6-3, top of the NFC West, 3rd seed in the NFC. This is a fun team, and it should hopefully keep getting better and better. Thank you.
4 more wins. 4 more wins. 4 more wins.
8 more wins.
Or 8 more. Yeah. And then 4 more wins after that. So 4 more wins, and then 4 more wins after that. Yeah.
4x4x4.
4x4x4.
The animals entered the ark 4x4.
2022 Seattle Mariners, June 29th through the All-Star break type beat.
Yeah. What do horses say when they fall?
I don't know. Tell us.
Help by falling, and I can't giddy up.
Yuck.